The greatest debate the people of Buffalo have ever had. The North Towns versus the South Towns. Which one is better? Which one is better for you? And which one will you decide on? Let's go over the biggest versus battle that we can have in the city of Buffalo. North Towns versus South Towns. Let's discuss them all. What's going on, you guys? I hope all is well. As always, this is a very exciting video and highly debated video at that. The North Towns versus the South Towns, the end all decades battle right here on Buffalo Living 2.0. Now, when it comes to the North Towns and South Towns, everybody's going to have their pick. As we go over this is going to be on a huge macro level. This is not going to be so much on a micro level like towns, versus the town. So Amherst versus Orchard Park type thing. This is going to be huge macro. So all of the North Towns and then all of the South Towns. I don't over romanticize this at all. I start in the middle of the city, as you see to the west. I draw a dot right in downtown Buffalo, and there's a smooth line going across the entire Buffalo and suburban areas on the outskirts. Up north is north. Down below is south. Amherst, Cheektowaga, Kenmore, Tonawanda, North Tonawanda. That's all North Towns. Clarence, South Towns, Orchard Park, Armour, Hamburg, West Seneca, Lackawanna. Those are all South Towns. I don't go crazy with that. So if you live in one of these areas, that's it. Some topics that we're going to be talking about. Number one is shopping and amenities. How close are things around you? Second, we're going to talk about the vibrancy, how things are. What is the kind of culture like the North versus the South? Third is going to be diversity. And then lastly, we're going to get into real estate a little bit, but that one is such a tough one because you have so many different styles. In my opinion, the North is more city/suburban. When it comes to the South Towns, you're more suburban/country, more country though. The North Towns like Amherst, Cheektowaga, the city, North Buffalo, those different areas, Clarence is a little country, but those are a true suburban feel outside of the city. That's a more bounce to it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It has that walkability way more than the South Towns could ever offer. It has that closer to the city feel. You have a lot more amenities and shoppings when it comes to it. The South is more spread out. You get a little more acre for your land. You get a little more acres when it comes to the house that you buy. Things are more spread out. You don't have that central Cali area where you can go shopping as much as the North Towns can definitely offer you. But one thing the South does have over the North is that they get way more snow. I mean, crazily. Let's compare 20 minutes out, for instance. Orchard Park is probably south 20 minutes, and then Amherst is probably north 20 minutes. The difference in snow, you may ask, between these two areas, both 20 minutes away from the central Cali of Buffalo, Orchard Park is getting 114 inches of average snow per year right now. And after the two storms we had, it probably went up in 2022 to 2023. Now, Amherst, per se, only gets 84 inches. That's a difference of 28 inches. For you guys that don't know what 28 inches per year looks like, that's an extra 2 feet. Basically, of snow per year that the South Towns, Orchard Park in this instance, get more than the North Towns. And nobody will argue this fact. This is true. It's stamped. It's probably in Moses' tablet somewhere. This is a fact. The South Towns just get dumped on with snow. Now, let's talk shopping a little bit. When I said earlier that the North Towns have more amenities, it feels like it has that more bounce, that more vibrant attitude to it. To me, it does. Anywhere you go in the North, I don't care if you in East Amherst, you got Eastgate Plaza. Cheektowaga, you got the Walden Galleria, you got Transit Town. If you're in Amherst, I mean, you have a plethora. Whether you're in Williamsville, you got the Transit Town Plaza, you have Consumer Square over there in Amherst/Tonawanda. Anywhere you go up north, you have these massive consumer squares is basically what we call them. Whether you're going to go dress shopping, you're looking to get some food, whether you're going grocery shopping, that local Lowe's or Home Depot, all of these major towns / suburban areas have these massive consumer squares that you can go to and get all your shopping done, amenities done, hair, nails, groceries. It doesn't matter. They have those squares designated for that reason, and then they build around them. The South is not so much. Let's take Orchard Park and Hamburg, for instance, these two examples, right? In the town of Orchard Park, you only have this little itty bitty circle of a village, and it's filled with mom and pops, boutique shops. You're not hitting anything crazy or massive consumer square. Everything is up North Buffalo Street and Main Street. Those 2 blocks, 3 blocks, maybe around that circle or that end around, is all the shopping that you have inside that village. The closest mall to Orchard Park or Hamburg is going to be McKinley Mall, and it ain't that great of a mall. I can tell you that straight up. But they did just have a really, really nice farmers market in there last December. It was dope. Everybody from the community was in there. I mean, it was packed, jam-packed full of people. Everybody selling the things that they like. You have that in the city too, but that was nice because I was there. Just a side note. Anyway, you don't have that same suburban feel. Once you hit south, it gets more country. So you're talking about, for instance, you want to go out at night. Those spots, Orchard Park, Hamburg, you're gonna have those 1 or 2 bars inside the village that everybody goes to. Up north, you have a plethora. You can get inside the city in 15 minutes, 10 minutes, probably even, depending on where you are. And then you have different spots that you kind of bounce around to. So I'd rather go bar hopping in the north towns than go down in the south towns. Again, when it comes to the scene of art, when it comes to cultural diversity, and this is just another thing as we rolling into it, when it comes to those different things, you have way more diverse of a section in the north towns than you're gonna have in the south towns like West Seneca, Orchard Park, Hamburg, Armour, Lakeview, or anything by the water. And honestly, if we're being very honest here, anything outside of 20 minutes in a radius of the city, so if you're going 20 minutes out, put a big old circle around that thing, it really ain't much diversity spreading out that way anyways. It's getting a lot better, but it's just not there yet. I mean, even if you look at Orchard Park High School and you look at their demographics, you probably, I think it's no exaggeration, maybe like 1 to 2% minorities. And that's including everything. Black, Hispanic, Asian, you name it, Hawaiian, Pacific, everything else is more of a Caucasian descent. So those are things you want to think about. And in the South, that's definitely prevalent, especially if you're going to East Concord, if you're going to Webster's Corner, or anything pushing down that way. Now, on the reverse end of that too as well, once you hit past North Tonawanda, you can't tell the difference between North and South at that point. When it comes to school districts, because I know that's probably on a lot of people's mind, school districts, you're going to find great schools in both areas. North, you talk about Williamsville, Amherst school systems. If you're inside the city, you're talking about City Honors, maybe Hush Tech a little bit. Down south, you have Orchard Park. Again, you have Hamburg. You actually have Frontier as well, too. Frontier is a decent school. Clarence, again, back up north. Lancaster up north. Again, you have more towns and more to choose from, to me, up north than you have down south. And a lot of those schools in the southern tier are massive. There's only one high school in Orchard Park. Hamburg does split into between Hamburg High School and Frontier. I always wonder why they didn't combine those two, but hey, that's neither here nor there. East Aurora, one high school. School systems, I mean, you're gonna get great schools in both the north and or south. Again, remember, this is on a macro level, not so much on a micro. Walkability, as we talked about amenities a little bit earlier, you're gonna have more walkable towns and areas up north than you're gonna have down south. Up north, you're going to have places like Kenmore. You're going to have North Buffalo. So that Hurdle kind of area up there. You're going to have Williamsville. You're going to have North Park. Those are extremely walkable areas. You can work, eat, sleep, play, bike, straight to work, right? Down south, you get a little more acreage for your home. I think no exaggeration, I think East Aurora, you may get almost like a half acre if you're in the town of Aurora, not so much inside the city. Inside the village. But if you're in a town of Aurora or someplace like that, you can probably get like an acre, half an acre of land. I mean, easily, not a problem. We just sold a home up there in East Aurora. Beautiful home, offset, 5.6 acres of land. $500,000, huge home, need some upgrades, but by the time they get done, probably be worth even more than that. If you look at East Aurora and the houses that goes up for sale, literally just outside the village, you probably won't be able to walk. You probably bike in there. I wouldn't be walking from Aurora inside the village. That's just me though. Make a long story short, you're gonna get a lot more land for your dollar. East Aurora is probably the most walkable area in the South towns that you have. Most of the South towns, when you go in down there, Hamburg, Orchard Park, they don't even have sidewalks on their back streets. So that can tell you everything you need to go. If you're walking your dog, it's off to the side, literally. You're in the middle of the street probably walking your dog, unless you're inside the village or something. Most of those back streets don't even have sidewalks. So that can tell you a lot about the walkability right there. And again, inside the village, you're gonna walk in a couple blocks up and down Main Street and Buffalo Street, and that's in Hamburg and in Orchard Park. And I'm just using those two as an example. One thing I do like that the South Towns has that the North Town doesn't have, especially when you're talking about inside the city of Buffalo, right? Keeping the towns in perspective, you don't have as much elbow room when it comes to your housing as the South Towns. In the South Towns, you're not worried about parking whatsoever. You're not worried about where you're putting your vintage 1964 Impala in your garage. You're gonna get a garage. You're gonna get a driveway. Off-street parking is not a thing out there. You get more space, as we talked about earlier, when it comes to acreage and just solidifying your home. You're most likely, you may or may not even put a fence up in the South Towns because it's so much space and because wood is $20 for a 2x4 right now. But make a long story short, you just don't have that same type of condensed feeling as you would inside the North Towns. Places like Cheektowaga, Amherst, you're only gonna get about 1/10 of an acre when you talk about your lot of land. Even Cheektowaga a little bit right now is getting more kind of like city-like. More people are moving into Cheektowaga. Remember guys, especially in a lot of my other videos, I always talk about this. Cheektowaga is like that next step up outside the city. Kenmore, Cheektowaga, those are like that next step. Hey, I'm getting out of the city, I'm done with the city type of lifestyle. Don't get me wrong, things happen in Orchard Park and Hamburg and all those South Towns area, West Seneca. For the most part though, it's chill out there. A lot of things is not happening the way, you're not worried about different things like those city petty crimes or those city instances. A lot of people are walking around free out there, and that's just my opinion. Some people may have a different one. These are my viewpoints. Especially in towns like Kenmore, that's something you really have to pay attention to is when it comes to parking, especially when those winter months hit and the plows start coming down. Now, is it as bad as the city? No, but still remember, Kenmore is the first suburb of Buffalo. If that is the case, they didn't have long, drawn out driveways back then. In Orchard Park and those South Towns areas, you're gonna have those. You're gonna be able to say, hey, I'm looking for a 3-car garage, and probably find it depending on your budget. In Kenmore, in some sections of Kenmore, you may be lucky if you get a parking pad. Now I'm exaggerating, but Kenmore is not known for big backyards, so those are different things you're gonna think about. You're gonna get a yard down south. You're gonna get, all those driveway amenities. You're not really worried about the plow. If you're gonna get plowed in at night, all those things you don't worry about. In the north, you still have to worry about those things. If you don't move, if you're right now, it's the winter months. So after generally November 15th ish, if your car is on the street between November 15th and the time they say they uplift that ban and around April-ish, and you get caught your car on the street with that plow coming down, you will get a ticket. It's not like the city of Buffalo where they're just gonna plow you in. No, you're gonna get a ticket because your car is on the street overnight and it's not supposed to be. Now, when it comes to affluence, both North and South have affluent areas. If you're thinking about Amherst, East Amherst, Clarence, those are pretty much going to be your affluent areas up north. Orchard Park, Hamburg, Armour, Lakeview, those are going to be a lot of your affluent areas in a southern tier. East Aurora. So a lot of those things, you got affluent areas in both places. When it comes to taxes, again, now this is where it gets on a micro level. it all depends on where you are. And since we're talking about taxes, we might as well talk about real estate as well. When it comes to those two things, it's tough to say which is better. And the reason why I say that is because I've been in all those areas. I'm talking to you guys from experience. I got videos of all these areas on the page. So if you haven't checked those out, or you really want to see a specific town, go ahead on the page. I got plenty of vlog tours. I've been around all these different places. You can find a huge 2-story colonial anywhere. I don't care if you're up north or you're down south. You can find a ranch anywhere. It doesn't matter the design or layout, you can find that anywhere. When it comes to real estate, when it comes to taxes, especially up here, we go by a town basis out here, and depending on where you live. You can be in the town of Amherst and pay a higher tax in Williamsville because you're in the village. You can be in the town of Tonawanda but pay a higher tax in the village of Kenmore because you're in the village. You could be in Hamburg and pay a higher tax in the village of Hamburg than the town of Hamburg. So it's the same anywhere. And the same thing with the houses. You're going to have different price points every single place you are. The biggest difference, again, to me, is the space you get for your dollar when it comes to the north versus the south. Some people don't want all that space. Some people want to be around the vibrancy and the bounce in the area and get back and forth inside the city whenever they want to. North towns is probably going to be the move for you. If you want to be a little further away, but still maybe enjoy a East Aurora type of vibe or a southern type of vibe where things are a little more spread out versus the north side, then maybe the south towns are best for you. Now, I know that was a long spiel, but this is really debated, and I really just wanted to give my opinion on the north versus the south type of feel. You may have a different opinion though. That's okay. Leave it in the comments because I'm very, very, very eager to see what people have to say with the pros and cons. Now, keep it cordial, my good people. Keep it cordial. But what is the differences? What are the pros and cons? Do you see the north versus the south? Again, they both have their pros and cons. It really just depends on the lifestyle that you guys are looking for. You can find that type of house anywhere. A little more space, go southern, unless you want to go way up north to like Sanborn, but now you're talking about getting into Niagara County and not Erie County type thing. But those are just my thoughts on a few of the topics that a lot of people seem to bring up, especially once they're moving here or they're here and just discuss it, as Buffalonians, going as a friendly conversation. So if you guys don't already know, my name is Devonte Davis, the local realtor in and around the Buffalo area. If you guys are moving up here or you're already in the Buffalo area looking to move around, make sure you guys hit me up with a call, text, email. You guys know real estate is my thing. I love it. I love being of service to you guys, and this is why I really put out this channel, letting you guys know the beauties of Buffalo, everything it has to offer, how you guys can compare and contrast which different towns that you like, don't like, and where you guys want to move to, and I would love to help you guys on that move. So hit me up with a call, email, text. It does not matter. And as always, I will talk to you guys inside the next one.